The very first question, okay, it's going to be about finding the vertex and x-intercepts of graphs. So the first couple, when we talk about vertex and x-intercepts, let's say we had a graph that looks like this. Okay, the vertex is the max or min. Okay, whatever point down here is the far bottom, or whatever graph or whatever point would be the far top, that's called the vertex. Okay, and when you start a graph, it's important that you graph that point first. Okay, so that's what it asks for. These are the x-intercepts. Okay, and again, the vertex will be a point. Okay, so they have an x and y value. Okay, and these will have x and y values. Now the intercepts will have a y value of 0, so it'll be some x value and then 0. Okay, so for x-intercepts, that's what you need. Okay, then you can find other 2 points on it by just plugging in random x values and solving for y, and then they're going to ask you to graph it. Okay, so that's the basics of what we're going to do here. Okay, so the very first one, f of x is equal to x minus 3 squared. Okay, so we need to graph that problem. Now, okay, there's a couple ways to do this. The very first way to do it is by kind of transformation of graphs. Okay, if you just graph x squared, it looks like a graph that looks like this. Okay, with your vertex of 0, 0. Okay, and then the slope is up 1 over 1. Okay, and then it kind of rises after that. All right. So in order to graph this, in order to do transformations, okay, whatever happens inside, so if we have, this is x squared. This is this graph. Okay. So technically when they go f of x is equal to x minus some number squared, okay, you'll move it to the right, however many it says right here. That's a way to do it. Okay, so this one would be right 3, and that's your point. Okay, so that's one way to do it. The other way to do it, okay, and I would suggest you do this way, is to FOIL this out. Okay, so when we FOIL this, remember it's x minus 3 times x minus 3, so it ends up being f of x is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, now the way to do it is the x value is going to be negative b divided by 2a. Okay, so anytime you hear vertex, you need to think about negative b divided by 2a, and then once you get an x value, then you plug it in to find your y value. So it'd be f of negative b divided by 2a. Okay, now a lot of times this screws people up. Okay, but just think about it. Once I get an x value, I just plug it back in and I get the y value. Okay, so let's do that. So a is whatever's in front of your x squared. So it'd be, let's say f is equal to a x squared plus bx plus c. So whatever number is in front of your x is your b, and whatever number is over here is your c. Okay, so your a here is 1, your b is negative 6, and your c is 9. Okay, so negative b, so negative 6 divided by 2 times a. So that'd be 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So your x value is 3. Okay, so my vertex here would be 3, and then to get the y value, I just plug in 3. So 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 9. 3 squared is 9. Minus 6 times 3 is negative 18 plus 9, and that's 0. So my vertex is 3, 0. Okay. Then it says find the x-intercepts. Well, we do the exact same thing that we did before. Anytime it says find x-intercepts, you plug in 0 for y. Okay, so it's 0 is equal to x minus 3 squared. Okay, and then you just solve it out. So in order to get rid of the square, I would square root it. Square root of 0 is 0. X minus 3. Make sure when you square root something, technically it's plus or minus. So it's plus or minus 0, but plus or minus 0 is 0. Okay, and then you just add 3, so x equals 3. That's your x-intercept. Okay, so it's your point is 3, 0. And notice these two are the same. That means I just move this graph over 3, which is what we talked about here. Okay, so there's only one x-intercept, it's 3, 0. Find two other points on the graph other than the intercepts. Well, you just plug in two x values. Okay, so my x values other than the y-intercept, or other than the, I'm just going to plug in x equals 1, x equals -1. Okay, it seems like an easy way to do it. X equals 1. 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 9. So that would be 1 minus 6 plus 9, which would be -5 plus 9 is 4. So my first point is 1, 4. And I do the same thing with -1. So -1 squared minus 6 times -1 plus 9. It's 1 plus 6 plus 9. That'd be 16. So it's -1, 16. So there's two other points, and then they ask you to graph it. So when you get all this information, you just graph these points. Understand it's going to be a u going up. So we just got to graph that. So first graph 3, 0. Graph the point 1, 4. I can graph the point -1, 16. It's up there somewhere. Okay, and then I have a basic understanding of what it looks like. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Okay, and there would be your graph for that one. Okay, let's do the next one. The next one, we don't have to FOIL out, it's already worked out. 2x squared minus 8x plus 5. Okay, so again, find the vertex. Anytime you see vertex, you should think -b divided by 2a. Okay, so find your x, then plug it in to solve for y. So -b, so a here is 2, b is -8, c is 5. So -8 divided by 2 times 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So my x value is 2 of the vertex, then I just plug it in. Okay, so 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 5. So that would be 4, 8 minus 16 plus 5. That would be 8 minus 16 is -8 plus 5 is -3. Okay, so my vertex is 2, -3. Okay, so that's 1 point on the graph. So I'm going to go ahead and start my graph. 2, -3. Right 2, down 3. Okay, so now I know it's a u. Since this is positive, it's going to be a u going up. Okay, so I have a general idea of what it looks like. Now I need to find the x-intercept. Since it's going up, I will have x-intercepts. But if this was negative, notice my u would be going down, and I should be able to say, well, there's no x-intercepts. if this was negative, but it's not. Okay, so I'm going to plug 0 in for y. Okay, so 0 is equal to 2x squared minus 8x plus 5. Well, how am I going to find the x-intercepts now? I need to solve this out. Well, that's Pythagorean, or the quadratic equation. Okay, so it's negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, and I'm going to get two answers because of the plus minus. Okay, so negative b is negative 8, so it's 8, plus or minus the square root 8 squared, negative 8 squared, minus 4 times 2 times 5, divided by 2 times a. All right, now I'm just going to solve it out. 8 plus or minus the square root of 64. That'd be 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Divided by 4. 8 plus or minus the square root of 24. 4. 8 plus or minus the square root of 24. 4.9. Okay, and then you work it out. Okay, and whatever you get there, okay, that's your x values. And so the first one, 8 plus 4.9 would be 12.9 divided by 4. That should be around 3.2. Okay, so there's my first one. That's my first one. And then minus 8 minus 4.9 would be 3.1 divided by 4. Okay, that's around 0.75. Okay, so that would be somewhere in there. Okay, and see how it's pretty symmetric. Okay, find two other points on the graph. Again, you could just plug in whatever you want. Okay, so I'm going to plug in 0 this time. Okay, so 2 times 0 squared is 0, minus 8 times 0 is 0, plus 5. So I know the point is 0, 5. 5. Okay, and then I can pick whatever other point I want. Okay, so let's do something over here. Let's do 4. Just because that'll kind of give me where this one should be. 2 times 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 5. 4 squared 16 times 2 is 32 minus 32 plus 5. 5. Okay. Then you would just, on your draw in the graph. Okay, that's it. Okay, next one. F of x equals 3/5 x plus 7. We got to graph this. All right. Notice there's not squared, so it doesn't look like a u. Notice this is linear. Okay, and based on y is equal to mx plus b, okay, I know the m is your slope, and I know b is your y-intercept. Okay, so there's your b, there's your m. Okay, so the first question says find your slope. Well, your slope is 3/5. Find your y-intercept. That's that. Remember, to put this as y-intercept, you got to plug 0 in for x. Okay. Plot 2 points on the line to graph. Okay, you can pick, I would do 0, 7. That's already an easy one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just need one other point. Otherwise, I could count up 3 over 5. That would give it to me too. Up 3 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but let's make sure, let's check that. Up 3 over 5. Okay, so I'm going to plug in the x value of 5. So if I do 3/5 times 5 plus 7. Notice the 5s will cross off, and I'm left with 3 plus 7 is 10. Okay, and notice when I count up, that's 10. So my next point would be 5. So connect those 2 points. Draw your arrows, and you're done. Okay. Final one, find the vertex. H of x is equal to x minus 5 squared minus 9. Okay. If we did it by transformations, you should notice that this is inside, so this would be right 5, and the minus 9 would be down 9. Okay, so technically your vertex should be 5, negative 9. But let's do it the other way. Okay, let's do it the other way where we see vertex and we think negative b divided by 2a, and then we plug that in to get your y value. Okay, so we would need to FOIL this first. So when we FOIL this, it's x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus 9. So we solve it out. X squared minus 10x plus 16. Okay, and then we do negative b divided by 2a. So negative b, negative 10 divided by 2 times 1, which would be 10 divided by 2, which is 5. Okay, so we got the x value of 5. In order to get the y value, just plug in 5. I'm going to plug it in right here. Okay, so 5 minus 5, 0 squared minus 9. So 0 squared is 0, minus 9 is negative 9. See how we did right 5, down 9. Okay, I'm going to start my graph. Right 5, down 9. X squared is positive, so it's going to go up in a u. Okay, so it will hit this twice. Find the x-intercepts. Plug in 0 for y. Okay, so 0 is equal to, I'm going to leave it like this. This one will be so easier to solve. Otherwise, I would have to use the quadratic equation. So what I would do to solve this is go ahead and add your 9. Minus 5 squared. I need to get rid of this square, so I'm going to square root. Now remember, anytime you square root a square, it's got to be plus or minus. So it'd be plus or minus 3 is equal to x minus 5, and then I add 5. So 5 plus or minus 3, which makes sense because you got to have 2 x-intercepts here. So 5 plus 3 is 8, and 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, so it's going to be 8, 0, and 2, 0. 1, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I got a general idea of what the graph looks like, and I could probably draw it right now. Find the two other points. Okay. Again, you can put whatever you want. Okay, I'm going to use 1 because I know that'll be up here, and that was 8. I could use 9. So I'm going to use 1 and 9. And I just got to find the y value. So when I plug in 1, let's go through that. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. 16 minus 9 is 7. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then 10. Nope, I'm going to do 9. So 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. 4 squared, 16. 16 minus 9 is 7. Okay, notice it would be symmetric. Okay, so my other 2 points are 1, 7, 9, 7. And then I just connect the dots. Okay. Okay, and again, that should be your graph. Okay, so the whole gist of this is finding vertex, okay, and this is what you're gonna have to remember. Negative b divided by 2a anytime you see vertex, all right? Okay, let me know if you have any questions.